Hey guys and girls, my name's Dan, welcome back to The Forge. In today's episode of Trust Me, I'm a Blacksmith, we're going to be talking about building this gas burner. I'm going to be showing you how to put it together, and also we're going to be talking about gas forges. Okay, I've already filmed this video. I wasn't happy with how it came out, so I was filming me doing some of the makey parts. Unfortunately, they were either really bad angles, or the information that I was sharing them was wrong, it's convoluted, it was stupid. And I just was like, nah, I'm not happy, so I'm going to redo it. So you're going to be getting a slightly different video than what I had planned, but hopefully a better one. If you are going to be making this build, please be safe. It's really important that you follow the guidelines for wherever you are in the world to do with gas, and also use a bit of common sense. Gas is really dangerous. If lines are leaking, for example, you need to take precautions to try and prevent that and stop yourself from getting blown up. If components are faulty or they don't look like they're right, or you make modifications to components, you must make sure that you make those modifications to the best of your ability and that they are safe. Other than that, this is a really great little project. These burners turn out really, really well, and they work really well in conjunction with the little gas forge that I've been making. I'm going to talk more about why I'm making the gas forge at the end of the video, but for this bit here, I'm going to just talk about these gas burners, how to get hold of all the parts, how to put them all together, and then we'll go forward from there. Right, let's get two things out of the way. The first thing is cost. This cost me £31.29. That's for all the components you see here. Some of them are relatively cheap, some of them are quite expensive. This component here, this is the second thing. This is what I believe is the same Venturi that's in the Alec Steele burners. It's basically a Chinese manufactured component. I found it on Amazon. There's a link in the description. But yes, this is a relatively cheap build, and you can probably build the two of these roughly for about £65, I would have thought, somewhere in the region of there, if you've got all the extra fittings and hoses and stuff. This doesn't include the price for the hoses and regulators and the gas cylinder, obviously. So it's just for it's just for this bit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this down, and I'm going to talk about all the components that are in this. These work really well, but you can run these at max and they will give you some serious heat, or if you can turn them down a little bit and they will give you a reasonable working heat. So I'm going to show you that as well at the end of the video. So I'm going to strip this down, and then I'll see you guys in a minute. All the components you find in the burner are laid out in front of you. Some of them have been modified. I'm going to talk about those modifications now. So let's get some of these bits out of the way, and then we can start talking about them. So firstly, let's talk about the Venturi. I'm going to talk about some sizes. This is the inch inlet. So this is a tapered BSP inch outlet part for the gas burner. This screws into the long black nipple, and also the other end is a 1/4 inch BSP straight. So that's our first component, and this is going to determine all the other factors for this build. In order to pass something through the center of that 1/4 inch BSP straight fitting at the back of the Venturi, I have found one of these hydraulic bulkhead fittings. This is a 1/4 inch hydraulic bulkhead fitting, and it's the extra long version. Now, they come with these nuts on, but you're going to have to get two of these so that you can make the thumb wheel. I'll talk about the thumb wheel just now. So you're going to need two of these. The first one is going to be spun on, and it's going to go up on before it goes onto the Venturi. And also the second one is going to get welded inside a set of washers. Now, what I did for the washers was I found a washer that would fit. Now, this isn't ideal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the 1/4 inch BSP tap, and I'm also going to have some laser cut, either aluminium or, because I believe this is aluminium, but I'm going to get some laser cut thumb wheels made, and then drill the hole in the center, and then tap them out 1/4 inch. But for the time being, I've just found a very large washer that I can use quite nicely as a thumb wheel, and I've welded on a repair washer onto that. I think that this was a 22mm washer, just a 22mm standard washer, and then I've welded on a light repair washer, which is a 12mm repair washer, and then I've welded the 1/4 inch bolt onto that. And to do that, what I did was I just spun this on here, like so, and use both nuts to trap the first washer in. I welded that on, and then I put this one on top. For this bulkhead fitting, you're going to need to drill and modify one end. The extra long side, you're going to need to drill and modify so you can screw your Mig Tip in. Now, this Mig Tip is at 8mm. The drilling size for an 8mm tap is 7.25 millimeters, but they're really hard to come across. The 0.05 on the mil is really hard to find, and they're very expensive normally, but it is a more common size if you buy 17/64. So if you drill this out at 17/64 and then tap it at 8M8, you'll be able to screw your 8mm Mig Tip in. Like I said before, Uncle Buck does a demonstration about doing this as well in his video. So that is now our jet. This works really well because you can screw a 1/4 inch fitting on this side, and you can screw your 1/4 inch nuts on this side, and you can make your thumb wheel. So I'm going to go and assemble this. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to tighten up the bulkhead fitting, the Mig Tip in the bulkhead fitting. This doesn't have to be mega tight, but just tight enough so as it gets cold and hot, it's not going to work itself loose. I'm sure these do get relatively warm once they're in the forge, especially when they're cooling down. Then the next thing what we're going to do is you've got to make sure you've got a nut on here. This is going to be able so we can adjust this later. I'm just going to screw this in here. Once you've got this on, you're going to have to get your washer in as well. Oh, we've gone too far, I knew would. And then get your thumb wheel on underneath like so. So I've got my thumb wheel in there, and I'm just going to start screwing this up so that the thumb wheel can gain contact. Like so. So that's on there now. Lovely. Now, what I like to do is just bring this down, bring the thumb wheel down so it's just flush with where the Mig Tip and the bulkhead fitting meet, and then I'm just going to wind this down like so, and then I'm going to spin the nut, the bulkhead fitting nut, just up tight, and I'm just going to give that a little nip up tight. I'll do that now. There we are. So that's just tight, and that means this wheel can move backwards and forwards. That's the first bit done. Really simple. So the next component that you're going to need to get is some of this black nipple, and you're going to need to get an inch to inch female to 1.25 inch male pipe adapter with a BSP fitting. Now, I was originally using this as the flare, and it wasn't working very well. It was giving me a few problems. We modified this by welding on a piece of 2-inch pipe, and it's got a wall thickness of 5/16. What I did on this one is I just welded it all up nicely and tidy and got that all nice and tidy. Sorry, that's 50mm by 5mm wall thickness, and it's about 50mm long. And then what you need to do is get yourself a piece of 1 by 8 inch long black pipe, or nipple this is referred to, and this screws on one end like so. This is our flare. Now, one of the things that I think I might do in the future is I'm just going to pinch this flare out so this end flares out a little bit. This isn't as big and bulky as the ones in the Alec Steele burners, but I think I'm going to work on something a bit more substantial in the future, like the thumb wheels. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to screw on this side as well. I'm going to screw the burner on. So this is basically the burner finish. Now, you could go and run this straight off the gas if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm also doing these in hand tight. I'm still experimenting and playing around with these. I'm not necessarily finished making these yet. Now, the last thing that you'll need to do is find yourself some sort of tap. I was using this for doing the experiments with, and after a little bit of experimentation, I've already realised what I need to do is get this tap out of the way a little bit, because it does get quite hot behind these. So that's something I am going to do as well in the future. So I'm just going to wind this on. As you will have noticed, I've put a little bit of PTFE tape on this. The reason I put some PTFE tape on this is because they're straight tapered fittings. Sorry, they're straight BSP fittings. Tapered fittings shouldn't need BSP tape, and also this part here gets quite hot, so the tape's going to melt out anyway. So I don't think you need to be putting tape on this end, but these straight ends where you're going to have gas passing through, you probably want to put something on there to seal them up. Or leave it, wait till they start leaking. If they do, they might not leak at all. And if they do start leaking, then you might want to sort of search out something then to try and help seal those up a little bit. I'm just going to put a little bit of a tweak on here and get this tight. like so. Lovely. And that is our burner completely assembled. Now I'm going to go and show you how this works just now. I'm going to hook him up in the vise and just give you a little demonstration of it working, and then I'm going to show you the gas forge. Burner's in the vise, gas is on, and I'm just going to go through and have a little test run to make sure that this is all set up nicely. As you see, they work quite well. I don't know what the gas pressure's on. Like I said, I don't have a regulator yet that has a gauge on the tanks. I am getting one. I'm going to get a couple actually, because I'm going to need a few of them for the number of forges that I'm going to be building. But these work lovely and really good. These are really, really good. And I'm pretty sure that I've got the flame down right now. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this out of here. I'm going to go over to the gas forge, or what is going to be the gas forge when it's finished. I'm going to talk and show you what's going to happen in the gas forge and why I've done certain things, and go over certain aspects of that. And then we're going to hook one of these up and we're going to get something hot and see how long it takes to get hot in the little gas forge. Okay, L gas forge. This is prototype number 1. Hopefully they're going to work. I'm using these bricks because I have a stock of them that is in relatively easy access and relatively cheaply. I believe that these are the high temperature ones. The person that brought these does use them for salt kilns, and salt kilns run at very, very high temperatures in order to get the salt that they add to turn it into a gas. Now, this we used earlier. It worked quite well. The only problem I think that I'm going to have is that these bricks are quite soft on the bottom here. So what I might need to do is replace these bottom ones with a kiln tray or something like that, something that's a bit more rugged, that's going to take the in and out movement of hot steel a lot better. But we did try to get a piece of mild steel up to fire welding temperature. We tried for about 10 minutes. It was getting there, but I just didn't want to wreck this before I'd even had a chance to use it. So why have I gone with this design? What are my thoughts, and how is it all going to go together? Well, to be honest with you, I've gone with this design for 2 reasons. The first reason is I want to be able to have a door that can be operated open and closed at the front here. This is all a bit tight at the minute. But what I've got is I've got myself a couple of masonry eyes that are going to go in here. I'm going to put a little ratchet in here and a bar that goes across, and then some wire that is going to ratchet these up. It's going to lift these up. So that you can lift this up and down to whatever height you'd like to gain access. So that's the first thing that I've done. Also I was doing some research, and one of the reasons that gas forges lose heat and they're not quite as efficient as they could be is because people put metal in between ceiling faces. So this is basically every face that's contacting here on these materials are contacting contacting with another layer of insulation. I'm also going to be using some of this fire cement. It's a high temperature sealant that I'm going to put around some of the gaps to, again, try and confine that temperature within here. I'm not going to seal this up just yet because I'm not quite finished with it, but I'm going to go over some of the things that I'm going to do now. I'm going to talk about some of the holes I'm going to drill and stuff, and that's basically everything with this forge here. So for the burners, I'm going to be drilling initially drilling this small hole, which is the size of the orifice of the flare, and then I'm going to be using this slightly bigger drill, which is going to be the size of the outside of the flare, but I'm only going to be going to a certain depth. So this one's going all the way through, and this one's only going to go up to this shoulder, and that's going to be the shelf where my gas burner is going to sit on. I am going to also fix it in physically, but I haven't got around to doing that yet. This is still a prototype. Okay, by using both types of sets of hole saw, I've now got myself a little lip inside here. So this is the small hole saw size, and this is the larger hole saw size, and I've now got myself a little lip in there that I can rest my burners on, he says. Just like so. So when we look up inside here, you can see that the gas burner is sitting flush. Not sure if you can see that. You can see that the gas burner is sitting flush with this lip here, and that's hopefully going to protect the end of our nozzles a little bit. Okay, so we're going to be using a piece of 16mm round mild steel bar. We're going to put this in the fire. We're going to get that hot, see how long it takes to get hot, and then yeah, just basically check it out, see how good it is. So I'm going to get this lit, and then we'll go from there. After 2 minutes, it's got to from basically cold, because this fire wasn't on. It's got up to a reasonable condition. This will take it up to a forging temperature, and with that little door on front, it's going to be even better. So this works really well. The forge is working pretty good as well, so I'm quite happy with it. Well, these turned out great, and I'm really pleased that I managed to find this little Venturi on Amazon. Again, the link is in the description. That all of these other components that are on here will be in the description as well. I'm saying I made these for £31.29. That I had to buy some of these components from a local supplier. They were able to get them a lot cheaper than I could probably find them online. You could do the same thing. It's really easy to get hold of some of this stuff, but I will post the best and the cheapest prices. This component here in the middle, the Venturi, I could potentially get these a lot cheaper as well if I had made a bulk order, but that would mean I would need the customers. So if you are interested in getting your hands on one of these, and I could potentially make just the burner bit just to get rid of stock, if that helped them sell, by actually getting the bulkhead fit in, the Venturi, and a gas nipple and a couple of washers, I could quite happily chuck those in a box and send them to someone should they want that. And also the gas forge worked really well. It is a bit prototypey, and I've got lots of kinks to work out with that one yet, but hopefully we can start using that. You'll see that in rotation. Any advice on the gas forge, anything that you think that I might have done wrong or could have done better with the gas burner as well, please let me know in the comments. I really do appreciate all the feedback that you guys and girls do give me. There will also be a link in the description to Uncle Buck's video. I thought that was a really good video. I was going to go down the route that he went down to build his gas burners. He made some really lovely ones. He's got a lot of kit. I think you can cowboy it out a bit more than Uncle Buck did, get away with it a little bit. Are your burners going to work as well as his? Probably not, but I don't think that necessarily matters if you're home gaming. And also there's a link to some documentation that I found also down there, so go and check that out in the description. So down to the crunch, why am I building gas forges? And there is two simple answers to this. The first one is I'm going to start teaching classes, and the second one is I'm having some, not landlord issues, but I'm having some issues building wise with putting holes in roofs. The landlord here quite kindly let me put a hole in the roof for my forge, so it was inside, and that worked out great, but he has subsequently decided that he doesn't want any more holes in his roof. So That's fine. But as a consequence, it means I've had to find another solution to have another fire in here. I thought, well, why not bring a gas forge in here? And the second reason is I'm building the gas forges to start teaching classes at the second workshop, and I have the same problem there. The landlord isn't very keen about me banging loads of holes in the roof, so he's basically turned around to me and said, if there's a different alternative, please go for that. And I said we could probably use gas. And as a consequence, on reflection, and I do agree with Alec Steele here, I did make a video a while ago called gas versus coal or solid fuels, and or why gas forges suck, or something like that it was called. I can't quite remember, a bit of a parody video. But in that video, I talked about the necessity and reasons to use certain types of forges and what things certain types of forges can offer you against certain types of forges, other types of forges. And the resulting factor is that for teaching, a gas forge is a lot easier to do, to teach students with, rather than a solid fuel forge. Gas forges offer me the potential to have students, well, to help prevent students' work from burning. If the gas levels are controlled, gas is easier to light, gas is easier to maintain, and yeah, just basically, hopefully that's going to be the outcome from that. It's also, I can use it indoors with good ventilation without cutting holes in the building. So the long and short of it is that I've made conscious decisions about building these gas forges, and hopefully people understand that, and hopefully people can get behind the whole ethos and the idea behind why I'm doing it. That's everything, I think. Oh yeah, last thing, t-shirts. If you want to get some merch, I've got the Trust Me I'm a Blacksmith embroidered t-shirt with a little power hammer on the side. I'm really chuffed with these t-shirts. I ordered myself loads of them. But I can get baseball caps, I can get kids t-shirts, and I can get big boy t-shirts and girl t-shirts. They come in sizes, they're like female smalls, male smalls, blah, 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 whatever, up to XXL. I can get kids ones as well, and they start from like 0 to 1, I think. And then they go all the way up to like 14 to 15, and then is it 14 or 13 to 14 or something like that. So, and then I can get baseball caps as well. So if anyone's interested, ping me over an email. I am working on a way so people can get stuff without having to go through email, because it takes my time and it's irritating, and I don't always get back to people and then stuff. So anyway, yeah, I'm trying to work on that. That's everything. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are a subscriber, please ring that bell for notifications, because it will tell you every time I make a video, unless YouTube does something again to the algorithm and it doesn't tell anyone that I made a video. Thanks, YouTube. I make videos about twice a week. Sometimes I make them 3 times a week. Sometimes I make them once a week, which has been the trend for the last fortnight. Sometimes I do lives. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do a live very soon from this very workshop. And in the comments down below, please let me know if you want to get hold of any of the cheapy burners, or if you have any information about gas forges and burners, so on and so forth, or just what you thought of this video, whether or not you would have rather have seen me make the things. Not that I did much making really, I just drilled a hole and tapped some holes and welded some things together. It wasn't really that exciting. That's everything. Thank you for joining me. I'll leave a link up here to why gas forges suck. That's an interesting video. I'll leave another link down here to me doing something else. This is my Patreon, and down here is the subscribe button. Thank you for joining me, guys and girls. Bye-bye.